Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Thunder, and today we're going to be working on the death of our player and actually respawning. I should have made this tutorial right after the tutorial stats, but to be honest, I just forgot about it and then remembered to do it when I was doing the inventory system. So I just decided to leave it for later until we got all the weapon systems and everything done. So the way it's gonna work is once we reach 0, we just move somewhere else outside the map. A respawn screen pops up, and then what we're gonna do is just when we hit the respawn button, we respawn at a random point through our map. Now, let's go into assets. Let's go ahead and okay, I'm gonna do something. You guys don't have to do this. I'm gonna delete a couple of things for decor events. Okay, that's it. So go into scripts and then on player, actually not player, on UI, we're gonna create a C# script called death screen. Open it up in Visual Studio. Okay, I don't know what just happened, but okay, open death screen in Visual Studio. Then go back to Unity because we're gonna need one more script. Go to script. I'm gonna make a new folder called world. And this over here we're gonna make a script, create C# script, and this is going to be called player respawn point. Then we're gonna do the following. Over here, anywhere random, it doesn't really matter the position of it. Okay, just wait for it to load. Okay, on hierarchy, right click, create empty. I'm just gonna call it player respawn point. And then we're gonna assign the player respawn point script. That's gonna be it for the respawn point. We're not gonna have to do any code with this script. This is just an ID to find the respawn points really easily and not have to assign them manually. So what we're gonna do now is go to assets, then we are going to go, I believe, into prefabs. I'm gonna make another folder. I'm gonna call it again world. And over here, I'm gonna make a prefab of the player respawn point. Why am I doing this? Because as you can see, our respawn point appears here. So we would have to drag it around, make sure that the terrain height, and that would be too complicated. So what we're gonna do instead is, we're just gonna drag it into the terrain. So whenever you do this, you'll see that it automatically put at terrain height. So if you go down, you can see it right there. I'm just gonna close in on it. You can see it's right at ground level. So that's why I do it like that. Again, if you guys want to place it manually, go ahead and do it. It's just going to be a lot harder. Now just place a couple of random points through the map so you spawn in there when you are actually respawning. So I'm going to place like 4 or 5, I don't know. I'll make some over here on the beaches. Alright, that should be it. Although I'm going to create an empty game object here and call it respawn points. I'm going to call it player respawn points. Then over here, what we're going to do is just drag them into here to keep everything organized. So that's going to be it for that. Now, what we're going to do is let's go into our player and create the actual death screen UI. So we're going to go ahead and go into our canvas. We're going to create an empty game object, death screen, and make sure it's below drag drop icon and all menus. The reason for this is because we want to show this on top of all of this. So once you've created it, just double click to go straight to it. Right click on it and create a UI image. I'm gonna call it BG just because background. Then scale it up to just cover the whole screen. I'm gonna deactivate the effects for a moment just so I can see it. Then just give it the color you want. I'm gonna do like a reddish, I guess, dark red, like that. And then over here, we're going to create a UI text. And we're just gonna put whatever we want on it, but first let's make it wider, so up the width. Again, just hover over the name and drag it. Same thing for the height. And I'm just gonna put here, you died. Then I'm gonna make the font about, I feel like 40, 60. Okay, 60. Alright, and then just click here and here to center it. I'm gonna make this be a really dark red like this. But I am going to give it a outline component. You don't have to give this, but it's up to you. And I'm gonna make the color of the outline be sort of like that, like gray, so it stands out. Then just position it wherever you want it. Over here. Although I'm gonna make the background screen a little bit darker. Something like that feels better. And I'll make the font a little bit bigger because it's just too small for the screen. I'm gonna make it, let's try 100. That feels better. You died. Also, if you wanted to do it too, you could just create a UI image. And you could put any decor. You could put like a skull over here just to decorate the screen a lot more. But again, this is a tutorial. I'm not gonna do that because it's not really necessary. That's just customization of the screen. You can do it however you want. The important aspect that you do exactly like I do is the coding part and the setup part. So now inside here, we're going to create a UI button. Button, there we go. Drag it down and make it wider and higher, or taller, sorry. I'm just gonna make it a default color of, I don't know what color should I do, but let's just do something like this. Then select your text. As you can see, the text is basically brown, well, gray, I think, but it doesn't contrast with the screen. You don't really have to do this, but choose a color that actually contrasts with the screen. And I'm also gonna add a outline component. I'm gonna give it a font of 30. Okay, 40. Okay, not 40, 70. That's more like it. And then just over here type respawn. Okay, smaller font, 60, 56, 50. There we go. Now, we are going to have to go back to this, but for now, that's all good. Go ahead and hit play just to see how it looks on the screen. That looks decent enough. I'm just gonna go ahead and get out of play mode. Okay, I will add a little detail just to make it more interesting. I'm gonna duplicate this, make it a smaller font, so let's do like 70, and then I'm gonna put here, I'm just gonna put a random text like survival is, okay, caps is on, survival is hard, try again, something like that. And I'm gonna make it wider so the text actually lines up. Try again, respawn, and try again. Then I'm just, again, make it wider so it fits. And I'm gonna make it a different color, just, okay, I'm gonna make it a darker color. and the outline, I'm gonna make it brighter, like that. There we go. Okay, now, next thing that we're gonna do is just save this, make sure that you're not losing it, and the death screen, deactivate it. We're not gonna need it. And we are going to go ahead and go into scripts and window handler. So that should be in UI. Yeah, UI. Over here, we're gonna add a reference to our death screen. So hiding inspector, public death screen, and I'm just gonna name it death screen. And down here, same thing, death screen equals get component in children, death screen. Now, on our player, we're gonna need our player script for this. Okay, so let's go into player script. And on the UI, we're gonna make over here, let's make something called, let's make a header and call it UI. Okay, actually, never mind, we're not gonna need this. That's why we did it in the window handler. Okay, so let's go down here and we're gonna make a public void. Just gonna make it, okay, I'll just make it up right after update. We're gonna do private void die. Now we're gonna do it this here. When we die, we're basically going to do three things. First, we're gonna do window handler dot inventory dot close. Is it close inventory? Okay, dot close inventory. Okay, where's our close function? Do we have a close function for this? Okay, window handler. Well, I don't really know. Okay, yes, because we check it over here. So, okay, never mind. So, okay, sorry. We're gonna do window handler dot inventory dot open equals false. So we close our inventory. Now, here's one thing we are going to need. We're gonna need a way to drop our loot. There's two ways we can do it. We could just run a for through our inventory, drop all of it, and then we could just come back and pick up the dropbacks, which actually is exactly what we're gonna do, because that would mean we would need to make different UIs for the inventory size. So let's do that instead. Okay, so on die, what we're gonna do is, okay, over here, drop inventory. Then we're going to make it so first we're gonna unequip everything. So we're gonna do inventory. Actually, let's go to the weapon script. Okay, sorry guys, I did not think this part through. I just realized we have to unequip our weapons. So I'm sorry about that. Over here we have a reference to player. So, okay, I'm gonna pause for a moment, figure out how to do this, because there's multiple ways to do it, and then I'll get back to you guys. Alright guys, so this is what we're gonna do. In our weapon script, we're gonna go to update over here, and we're gonna do if slot equipped on dot data equals null. We're just gonna unequip. So let's go back to player, and we're actually going to drop our inventory. So we're gonna run a for int I equals 0. Now we're gonna do if I is less than window handler dot inventory dot inventory slots dot length. Then we do I plus plus, And it's pretty simple. All we do is window handler dot inventory dot inventory slots square brackets I dot drop. So we drop our inventory. Now let me check the inventory and see if we are adding over here the hotbar slots. So hotbar slots we're adding into the inventory slots, so we're good on that. So let's go back to player, and then what we're gonna do is window handler dot depth screen dot game object dot set active true. Now we're going to go ahead and code the actual dying over here on update. So we're gonna do if health, okay, if are we doing health? Okay, we're doing health on a separate script. Sorry guys, I just get really confused sometimes with this in my project, because in my project I just do the player stats on the same player script. Oh, actually no. Okay, yeah, we're not doing it here. If player stats, okay, get component player stats dot health is less than or equal to 0, and we're actually gonna open the player stats. We're gonna do go to definition, and right up here we're going to add a public bool is dead, and on update if is dead just return, so don't update anything. Alright, back to player. If health is less than or equals to 0, we're gonna do something. First, return, and before return we're gonna check if get component player stats dot is dead, but we're gonna add the exclamation sign at the beginning, so if it's not dead then we are going to execute the die function, which we're going to have to go back to, because we basically have to say get component player stats dot is dead, okay, sorry, forgot the parentheses, dot is dead equals true. There we go. So that should be everything for the player script. Now we're gonna go into death screen, erase all of this, and we're gonna create a public void respawn, and this is gonna be pretty simple. All we're going to do is first I'm gonna make it possible so you guys can give it a default item to your player. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna create a item SO, or a public item SO, sorry, public item SO respawn item. So this is the item that we will respawn with. So what we're gonna do is respawn, and then we're gonna do first if respawn item is not equals null, we're going to do get component in parent. Actually, you know what, we're gonna make a reference to the player right here. So player equals get component in parent player. Alright, now that that has been done, we're gonna do in here player dot window handler dot inventory dot add item, and we're gonna do respawn item comma 1. This respawn item could be anything like a hatchet, a pickaxe, a stone hatchet, anything you guys want, it's up to you. So next thing we're gonna do is basically we're gonna move our player to a random point of the respawn points. So down here, make the following player respawn point and make it an array. So add the square brackets, and we're gonna call it respawn points equals find objects of type respawn point, player respawn point, sorry. Now what find object does, it goes through the whole scene and looks for those objects. So any object that has the player respawn point will be added to this list. Next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna choose a random point between them. So we're gonna do int, I'm just gonna do I, equals random dot range. Okay, not rotation, range. And we're gonna do 0, comma, respawn points dot length. Okay, dot length. There we go. Then all we're gonna do is first player dot get component stats, player stats, sorry, dot health equals 100 equals. Okay, I'm going to copy this, equals dot max health. Now we're gonna run the same thing but hunger and thirst. So also, if you guys are hearing thunders in the background, it's basically because it's raining over here. So we're gonna do hunger equals max hunger. Okay, max hunger. And then thirst equals max thirst. And then we're gonna do again player.get component, but instead of that we're gonna do .get component player stats that is dead equals false. And then we're simply going to move the player over there before setting is dead equals false. Actually, we're gonna do player dot transform dot position equals respawn points square bracket, and then over here we're gonna do the random point we chose, which we just named the int I, so we're gonna do I dot position. Okay, dot position, dot transform dot position, sorry. And then what else do we have to do? I believe that's all. Transform dot position is dead equals false. That should be it for it. And just go back to our game. And I'm just gonna manually set it to 0. Because again, you can die from multiple things. You could die from animals, you could die from just starvation or dehydration. Obviously we're gonna add animals. I believe it should be on next tutorial, not the other one. Should be. I'm not sure right now, I gotta check. But also guys, we're nearing the end of the actual series. Right now we have about 4 more tutorials left to get the single player part of the series done. Then we're gonna implement multiplayer, which is gonna be like, just think of it as a season 2, which is basically going to be where we adapt all of our code to multiplayer. I don't know if I mentioned this because I believe I did it on the building system video, but that was the first attempt of recording that video, so I did not mention on the one that I actually uploaded. But just in case, I'm gonna say here, the reason we're doing this and we're not making it straight up multiplayer is because some of you might just want to do a single player survival game. So you can just watch all of this, and then we have all the foundation of our game, and we're gonna turn it into Photon multiplayer, which is a multiplayer solution for Unity. We're gonna turn all of our code into that, and it will basically work the same way, just multiplayer. Obviously, this is not gonna be a server structure. It's gonna be peer-to-peer, so a player connects to another player. So pretty much anyone can hack it. With Cheat Engine, they could hack it. But if you're trying to make a co-op game or just a game to play with your buddies, that should be good. You should be good then. Okay, back to this. Now on death screen, I'm going to give it the death screen script. So add death screen, and I'm gonna make it so every time we respawn with a stone hatchet. Okay, so let's go ahead and test it. Okay, so we're at 100 health. I'm just gonna pause the game, and I'm gonna set the health on player stats to be 0. Then we should die. Okay, where's the null reference? Player.die. Window handler death screen game object set active. Okay, what did we do in the window handler? Death screen equals get component children. Okay, I don't know what's going on. Alright, that was an unexpected bug. So player.get component, okay, get component player stats that is dead. Inventory.open equals false. Then we are just keeping doing this. Null reference exception, object considered as an instance of an object. Okay. Yeah, I know what's going on. So basically this is inactive, so we're not getting it from the actual script. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna set it active by default. Actually no, never mind. This is what we're gonna do. Go to your window handler script, remove this line of code, and we're gonna manually assign it. So remove the heading inspector part. Alright, just let it load. So we're gonna select player, and we actually player window handler right here. We're gonna drag in the death screen, okay, right over here, and there we go. Now save it and hit play. Again, just pause your game and make the player health 0. I'm also gonna make this like 40 and this 20 just to make sure that it's also getting reset. Okay, alright, it's not gonna work because of something. I know what it is. Okay, back to death screen. You're going to select the button you created, select it, and over here you're going to hit the plus sign. Now this, anything that's here is going to get executed whenever we click the button. So what we're going to do is we're going to drag the death screen over here. Then on our function, we click on it, death screen, and we do respawn. If you're not seeing respawn, go back to the code of death screen and make sure that the function is public. Otherwise, you won't be able to see it. Right, so let's go ahead and hit play. Then just pause it again. Player. Again, I'm just gonna make this 0, 20, and 20. Okay, there we go. So survival is hard. Respawn and try again. Okay, I know what's going on. We forgot to make our camera unlock our cursor. So we're going to do the following on player, on the death function on die. Before we activate this, we're gonna do camera look. We have that as cam dot lock cursor equals false, and cam dot lock cursor, not lock cursor, sorry, dot cam move equals false. Now just copy these two things, go to death screen, do it right over here, but you're gonna add player.cam. So it's gonna be player.cam. Same thing over here, player.cam. Okay. Alright, so that's good. Leave it like that. Go back to player. And over here on cam, we're gonna make it public, but I'm gonna hide it in the inspector. So I'm just gonna add the hiding inspector component. Hiding inspector. There we go. Now let's go ahead and actually hit play. Alright, there we go. So again, pause it, make the player health 0, and if you want, make the hunger and thirst less than 100. So now we're gonna hit respawn. Okay, what the hell is this happening? There's no null reference. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do it in a different way. What we're going to be doing is basically if we're dead, the cursor gets locked. Otherwise, it's unlocked. Okay, so here in update, what we're gonna do is actually no. On window handler, if inventory.open or get component get component player stats dot is dead, we basically unblock the cursor, sorry. So back to Unity. Now, let's say play, make the health 0, same thing as always. Okay, so health is going to be 0. I'm going to set this to 1. Now, okay, what the hell is going on now? I know exactly what's happening. Basically, the text is overlaying the respawn button. The middle text is... Okay, what the hell just happened? Alright, sorry guys. I thought my screen froze. It's just a bug that there was. So what we're gonna be doing is go over here, leave this like that. But then on player die, we're doing window handler death screen dot game object dot set active. We are going to go ahead and remove this first of all. Then get component that is dead equals true. So we should be dying. If it's not get component player stat that is dead, we die. And then we return over here. We're gonna go ahead. Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna pause the video again. Make sure that it works, and if it does, I'll show you. Okay, I'm pretty sure it works, but we forgot one thing. So go to your death screen, and right at the end, when we do is dead equals false, we're gonna do game object dot set active false. So we deactivate the death screen. So there we go. Go back to it. Also, there's one more thing we have to make sure of. Because our respawn button has to be all the way down. So we cannot have anything on top of it, because this text is gonna cover the respawn button. Even if it's not visible, basically this text, you see this portion, this part of the button, if the button was right here, like we had a moment ago, we wouldn't interact with the button. We would be interacting with the text. So just keep that in mind when you're doing your respawn screen. Also, I'm gonna delete this text. I don't really like it how it looks. So save it. Again, deactivate your death screen. And now it should work 99% sure. So let's go ahead and pause it. I'm gonna make my player health 0, my hunger 0, and my thirst 0. There we go, we're dead. We hit respawn. And we are respawning at a random point. Our stats got reset. I'm gonna test it again. Make sure that that was just a coincidence that we spawn at the same point we are. So yeah, you can see we're at a different point on the island. And there you go. You have a death screen and respawning. Sorry about so many pauses, so many errors, guys. I didn't realize that I was missing some things. And I can see why you guys would find that annoying, because it gets confusing just going back and forth a lot. So I apologize about that. Now, that being said, if you guys liked the video, as always, hit the like button, comment, and consider subscribing. It's always appreciated. Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Thunder, and today we're gonna be continuing the weapon system for the survival game. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and open up Visual Studio and open a couple of files up. So first we're going to need our weapon script. We won't be needing player, so don't worry about that. Neither crafting manager, neither window handler, neither interaction manager. So all we really need is weapon. Slot, actually we don't need a slot either. Inventory either. Item SO will need it, recipe template no, crafting SO no, crafting requirements either. So item SO, we're going to go into it and we'll add one more thing which I totally forgot about. Actually, forget about it. We're going to add it over here. So right below weapon data, let's do public bool is automatic. So basically what this does is whether we can shoot automatic or not. Then down here, I'm gonna do a couple of two private floats actually. So private float current fire rate, and then we'll do another private float fire rate. Okay, I misspelled this. Then over here on start, so again we're gonna check if weapon or melee weapon, actually never mind, so fire rate equals weapon data dot fire rate, and then current fire rate equals weapon data dot fire rate. And then we're gonna do one more bool that I'm gonna do it right here, but I'm gonna hide it in the inspector. So we're gonna do public bool is reloading, and then we'll do one more, which is going to be public bool has taken out, because otherwise if we are still playing the takeout animation, the draw animation, sorry, and we go ahead and shoot, it will actually just shoot. So we just have to watch out for that. So let's go ahead and create our actual functions. So right here we're doing already update aiming. I'm going to create a new function right above update aiming, which is going to be called public void